I wanted to tell you, I saw your film and I absolutely loved it. I love Shirley Chisholm. She is such a brilliant politician. I have to admit, though, I didn't know who Shirley Chisholm was until I saw the film. I asked a few friends of mine, and they also didn't know. So I want to ask you, how could we not know who Shirley Chisholm is?
That was precisely the question that got me on the train making the film. I mean, I was searching for a topic. I had not made a film before. I'd worked for fantastic filmmakers, and I heard her birthday announced on NPR. And I thought, Shirley Chisholm, and they said the first black woman elected to Congress. No mention of her run for president. And I kind of went through my history books on my shelf, and I realized that I had read 3 paragraphs in one of my history texts about her run for president, but I was so dismissive of it because she ran and lost. You know, who cares? Right. And I thought, oh my gosh, here's this black woman who ran for president, and what does she have to say about it? And so that's what got me started.
Since the film, there have been some major developments. She passed away in 2005.
She did.
And then we had the 2008 election with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. What do you think she would have thought of that election, and who do you think she would have voted for?
Ooh, that's a tough question. She would have been thrilled. First of all, she would have been absolutely ecstatic about those choices, because nobody was really talking about race or gender. They were talking about the candidates. And that was the main thing, the candidates and their qualifications and the issues. And that's really what she thought.
Really?
Was amazing. I'm sure she would have thought that was amazing, because that's what she was trying to do in 1972. Say, see me for my qualifications as a candidate, not as my race and gender. But she was always confronted with the fact that she was black and a woman, because that's what everyone would bring up. So she would talk about it, but that's not what she ran on.
So she would be happy then when the news media said after Obama was elected that now we're living in a post-racial America.
Well, she would actually chuckle at that. I don't know if she would agree with it. But she would have been ecstatic that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were going head-to-head in a great political contest. And I frankly don't know who she would have been divided. I mean, torn. I'm not sure who she would have supported.
And let's talk about, I mean, what do you think about that statement that we're in a post-racial America? And if you could place it in the context, looking at race in, you know, the late 60s and 70s and today.
I don't see that we're in a post-racial America. I mean, I think that the definitions and the kind of social values we place on race and gender are always in flux. What's great about this time is they are way more fluid than they ever have been, so that you can have a Barack Obama and a Hillary Clinton, you know, running for president, and their race and gender are not such a huge deal. But in 1970s, what's great about the 70s, why I find myself stuck in the 70s, is that people are first dealing with language around racial equality. It hadn't been so long since the civil rights legislation, let alone the movement and then the legislation. And so Americans are grappling with what this means in their daily lives. You know, do we have integrated schools? Do we not? How does that work out? Is there busing? Is there not? Who are my friends? All of those things. Who are my coworkers? Who do I automatically think of as smart and vibrant? And who do I automatically assume is a great athlete? You know, those kinds of dealing with their prejudices. And they're not media savvy. So all the film is full of wonderful gaffes. I mean, when Walter Cronkite, who was the consummate newsman, can get on the evening news and say about Shirley Chisholm's run for president, no, a bonnet has been tossed in the presidential race today, that of Mrs. Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm. You know, it says so much about the time, so much more than I could say, or an academic could say, or anybody else. Just being able to say that on the nightly news without repercussions says so much about the period.
I'm curious if you're making these films in a way to raise the discussion about race again. I mean, now we're in this age of political correctness, and maybe we do need to talk about race.
Listen, the reason I make films about the people that I choose to make them about is not so much just about race, but it is personal in the sense that I am a black woman, and I don't like being pigeonholed. I don't like you to tell me who I can be and what I can accomplish. And so I have looked into history to kind of revisit some characters and really get to know their journey. And so I do think of it as philosophy, so that if you can go along the journey with Shirley Chisholm, then you can learn something and be inspired by her. And in a film, you can get to know her in a way because she's interviewed in the film and you can see the archival footage of her. So then she becomes part of your collective social and historical memory. She becomes part of your family. And so when you're confronted at work with some boss who's trying to pigeonhole you, you can think, okay, what would Shirley Chisholm do? Or whoever, that they become part of your legacy and who fortifies you as a woman, as a person of color, as anybody really, as an underdog.
That's well said. I mean, after watching the film, you really get the sense that anything is possible. You can do, anyone can run. She's paving, as she said, she might not have won, but she was paving the way for other ethnic minorities and for women to run and to win.
Yes, and I think the big lesson is she did not limit herself. She did not limit herself in any way. She always made sure she was prepared. She gave 100%. But she didn't limit herself.
She's really a political dynamo. And it seemed to me from the way that you shot the film that you were close with her. Tell me a little bit about that relationship.
No, I stalked her to get her to say yes, and then she humored me because she saw me as this young woman, ambitious young woman, so she said yes. But I learned later that she really didn't think the film would be that successful, in other words, that good. And when I had an opportunity to show it to her after we were at Sundance, she got completely absorbed in the story and had this wonderful conversation with her younger self. I sat there quiet as a mouse. I was staring, trying not to stare, trying not to disturb her, but trying to watch her have and she said, oh, sure, I can't believe you said that. Oh my goodness. She would get angry again. And the phone rang almost towards the end. And so I paused the VHS. I didn't even have a DVD. When she answered the phone, she said, no, I'll have to meet you late for dinner. Yeah, at 5:30. I'm watching this fantastic documentary.
About me.
So it meant that it brought some of the anxiety and the highs and the lows alive for her. But she wasn't part of the process. She was not my best friend. I didn't know her. She just simply gave me an opportunity, and I ran with it.
You sure did. That was impressive. Well, thank you so much. I absolutely loved her. I'm so glad that you introduced me to her. Thank you for making the film. What do you have next? What do you have coming up next?
So my next film is on Angela Davis, a political activist from, again, the 70s, late 60s and early 70s. It's called Free Angela and All Political Prisoners. We are premiering at the Toronto Film Festival. And if you want to find out more about it, you can check out our Facebook page. And it's facebook.com/freeangelafilm.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be looking forward to talking to you more about that.
Thank you very much.